What is up, everybody? It is Tuesday night, and that means another episode of Tech Talk with Jiles McCoy, and that's me. So today we're going to be talking about home theater, and the main topic was going to be how to build a luxury home theater. But I think our guest that was scheduled for tonight is having some issues, and we might get back to that if they're able to join. But I think we're going to cover this and a handful of other topics that have been on my mind about home theater, particularly the future of home theater. And what I want to kick off with right now and talk about is what is going to change over the next handful of years at a fundamental level for the design of a home theater system, right? And what I'm really talking about are the kind of purpose-built larger rooms that cost some pretty decent bucks that you find in basements, like control rooms, that kind of stuff with projectors in the back, and what that looks like for the future. And for everybody that's out there viewing, I've got you up on both YouTube and Instagram right now, and I'm trying to follow along with the Instagram comments. So if you put something in on that side, I should see it. And if not, put it in like 18 times and I'll catch one of them. But, I'm really curious what everyone's comments and thoughts are. And JB Texas over on Instagram says, is front projection going to be dead? So let me start out with what I think is happening. And, I watch this stuff pretty closely, and there are definitely trends that are really going to impact things down the line. So if you think about the purpose of a home theater, it's really to have that experience, right? Like you're at a movie theater, and really that experience is made up of two components. There's the audio component and the video component. And from a video point of view, a lot of times people will say it's the really big picture, right? You want that humongous image that gives you the immersive effect. The image is out to here, and it's kind of as wide as you can kind of see. So you got like part of the screen in your peripheral vision. And then from audio point of view, you want the impactful bass, you want the surround sound, you want the heights, the atmos, all the objects moving around, and that enveloping continuous sound field. Now, what I see changing is really on that video side, because the design of everything from commercial cinemas to home cinemas has been based around, how do I get that large image? And that's the big thing. And I like David's comment. Step one, hire David. Step two, spend a lot of money. Those are, I think, the general steps. Hire somebody, spend a lot of money. But from a design philosophy, you know, the limitation has always been to get the really, really large image for an amount of money that is reasonable. You have to use projection, right? And this would be, I guess, this front projection, projector mounted in the rear of the room kind of deal, and projects onto a screen that sits in front of you, right? And it reflects the light back into your eyeballs. And that allows you to get a really big picture so you can have that immersive experience. Now, when you're going to use a projector, that brings in all of these design considerations that would not necessarily be part of the room design, other than it has to support projection. And the biggest one of those being the room has to be dark, right? You don't want windows, because that really messes up pretty much any form of projection. Even ultra short throw with ALR, ambient light rejecting screens, the ambient light in the room is a dill killer, right? So what's changed, and what we're seeing right now is screens. The cost of a large screen is precipitously dropping, right? Significantly lower than it's ever been. And if you went to CES this year, you would have been able to see some really, really cool things. So, in what I consider to be a screen technology that you would use in like a media room, a living room, that kind of thing, or even a small theater, TCL has their, and I think it was mini LED 115, not micro LED, but I think it was mini LED, 115 inch screen, single panel, one humongous screen that comes in a humongous box, and then you hang it on the wall, right? And it was absolutely gorgeous, right? it was amazing. And this is going to be one. I'll get to this comment here in a bit. The preference of a reflective display versus a direct view, but for most television rooms, right? Meaning not a necessarily purpose-built home theater room, um, direct view single panel televisions are at a size now that it consumes any other technology for the room. So the bridging technology, and now what I'm going to consider a niche technology, was the ultra short throw projector, right? This is the projector that you put at the bottom of the wall and it shoots up onto the wall. So, you put it back maybe a foot or something, and it can project 100-inch, 120, 150-inch image on a screen that you mount to the wall. And you typically pair that with like an ALR to try and overcome ambient light, because this is typically going to be in rooms with lots of windows and doors and that kind of stuff. Now, people wanted the big screen, and the only way to get that in a cost-effective fashion was to use a ultra short throw projector, right? And the really nice ones are still in the six, seven, $8,000 range, and the pretty good ones are in the $1,500, $2,000 range. And then you can get some junky kind of stuff that's lower cost than that, but it's not really worth it. But that was the bridging technology, because to get a television that was 100 inches or 115 inches, you're going to be spending 20, 30, $40,000, right? It's just super expensive. Well, if you roll the clock back about 12 months, maybe 18 months, you see the introduction of the TCL, and then later, I guess, Hisense models, with the 109 or 98 inch screens in the $2,000 range even. Now, they're not the best of screens at that price point, at that size. However, they do check mark that box of, we want a really humongous picture. Yeah, JB Texas says video wall age, here we come. And I'm getting to that. So that's coming. So this now large screen is at a price point that is equal to or lower than the ultra short throw projector, and it overcomes a number of issues that you have with the ultra short throw projector. And my two issues with those are, one, it's a projector, so it needs to be in a dark room. Even with an ALR screen, it looks okay, and they can look good. But with a true direct view television, you can buy different versions and different models, but you can get them where they're super, super bright. So you can have a room full of light with windows wide open and still get a great picture, right? And the other item is, the projectors are loud, right? They all make noise. Every projector is going to make noise. And, if you're designing a high end projection theater, you're going to put the projector in a room behind the main room and fire through glass or something, so you can have all of that equipment noise segregated off from your viewing and listening area. Well, you can't really do that with a UST, right? Because it's got to be right there in the room. And there is noise, especially on models that have brightness settings, and you're like, okay, let's jack the brightness up, put out more light. So in a room with more ambient light, the picture can be pretty good. It gets louder and the fans come on and you just hear it's not my preferred experience. So now TVs are absolutely cannibalizing that up to the 110-inch screen level, right? Beyond that, there really aren't single panel televisions available, at least in any kind of good price point. I don't know if anybody actually sells a single panel 120 inch right now. But I'll talk a little bit more about the large form factor in a second. So that bridging technology got us to the point where, a couple of years ago, these 98-inch or 100-inch televisions, and now 115, are becoming mainstream and are becoming affordable, at parity with the USTs. So now USTs are kind of they're fading off, and they're going to be niche use units, right? So maybe you want to put a big screen in a basement that's got like windy stairs or something, and you can't get a 100-inch screen down the stairs. It just doesn't work, right? So in that sense, you'd want a screen you can put on the wall, and then you use ultra short throw. Same thing upstairs or in a bedroom, something like that, where the installation becomes difficult. That's why I say these are becoming niche technologies. Now that market is changing, we're starting to see screens at an affordable price point, and I'm going to use quotes for affordable, for larger wall style televisions. And I don't know what the correct term is for big televisions, big screens, direct view screens that are made out of little tiny tiles. So maybe it's just a tile direct view screen. And you see it a lot with micro LED technology right now. Just Video Walls does it. You see it from the LGs and the Samsungs of the world. And basically, you have tiles of different sizes. You know, it could be anything from here down to smaller. Samsung was showing off their unibody screens that are frames that are designed to take specific numbers of small tiles in a prepackaged system, and that you can buy like a television, but it's made out of the same technology with the small panels that you can then expand out, right? So if you wanted to, you could just buy the small tiles and put it into like a 21 by 9 or something, you know, whatever crazy format you want. But they sell them prepackaged in 16 by 9 form factors, but it's still the little tiny panels. So that technology is now coming down in price so that at some point in a enthusiast home theater, it will be the same cost as a really high-end JVC or Sony projector and a crazy screen that does all this kind of auto masking stuff. You could buy that, or you could buy the television, right? Which is going to be brighter. It's going to handle HDR better. It's going to, in general, have better blacks. It'll be a better picture. It will be a better picture than what a projector of the same cost can do. So that's going to be crazy. I have a note. Hey, Giles at Zach at Dream Media TV. Hey, Ronster TV. How you doing? Welcome to the show. Glad you're here. If anybody's out there, say hi, and I'm happy to call you out here in the comments. So now that we're seeing in the immediate future those panels coming into price parity with projection, that then eliminates that room design restriction. Because why are the rooms dark? Well, they're dark because to get the picture, you had to have projection, and to get projection to work right, the room had to be dark. Well, now the room doesn't necessarily have to be dark, right? So is it cooler to design a room that can be used with the lights on when you're watching something, as opposed to the room only being functional when the light's out? So think about seating, right? Most typical home theater seating, you know, it's designed to, you know, you sit down, you watch the movie, and that's the main purpose, the only purpose. You know, it's got the nice recliner, and it's got some lights on it so that you can see it when you have to run to the bathroom and the lights are down low. Well, think about a room where if you wanted to, you could run your lights wide open and it still looks really good. That becomes a design philosophy change around high-end rooms, right? So many people, including myself, will still want the lights turned off while I'm watching a movie, right? It helps you become immersed, but you can now use this room for other things and have a great experience. So if you want to have people come over for the Super Bowl and watch it on your, you know, 180-inch screen that fills up almost the whole thing, right? You can do that because it's bright enough to have the lights open. If you want to install your theater in a room that has windows, you don't necessarily have to figure out how to completely block out all of the light coming out of those windows or seal them. Maybe you just put up blackout shades, right? And it's good enough. Maybe there's a little light that comes in, but it doesn't matter because the screen can be bright enough to handle that stuff. So, my vision of the future really is that all of the projection outside of those that are purists, right, is going to move over to panel style televisions. And then the room design is going to change, even down to the furniture, to be able to make use of the room when the lights are turned on. So if you think about kind of open form factor basement rooms, in the past, you couldn't get a really good theater experience there, right? Well, now from a video point of view, you can get just as good an experience. Now, maybe the sound won't be as good because you're not controlling it with the rear walls and that kind of stuff, but it makes that room much better when it comes to the visual piece. And now let's talk a little bit about the purists, right? So there will always be, until we all die out, people that grew up with you know, the theater experience where you go to a commercial theater and it's got projection and it gets dark. And I think even commercial theaters are going to change. I think they'll still make them dark, but I think the whole projection thing's going to go away, and they're going to go to a tile system, and the tiles are replaceable. So it's easy to upgrade. It's easy to do maintenance, all kinds of stuff like that. But the people that grew up on that are going to age out, right? Just like physical media is experiencing issues now, right? Because the new generation coming up, like my kids, for example, they have never bought a piece of physical media in their life. They have no desire to buy a piece of physical media. They don't want DVDs, Blu-rays, 4K discs. They have no or vinyl. They don't want it, right? Um, and then things like the new Aura streaming codec, which makes uh, the experience much closer to what you find on a 4K disc. It's going to fundamentally change the world, and the consumer is going to change for home theater, just like it's changing for the type of source media that people like. Right now, you have collectors, and you'll have collectors for a while, and you'll probably always have some number of collectors, and you'll have boutique shops that press out 4K discs for those folks, right? But that'll be a really tiny piece of the market, right? Just like vinyl's a tiny piece of the market now. So you'll have a tiny number of people that want projection, and maybe that's the folks that can afford a Christie, right, or a really high end Barco, which can kind of compete with the high end direct view screen, kind of. I mean, they're pretty good. I mean, but they're not as good as like a really nice OLED that you would buy today, and like a 85-inch OLED that's just stunning, right? No projector does that. It just can't. Now there was a comment that just scrolled off. Uh, so JB Texas says design philosophy isn't necessarily equal to use case philosophy. Movie theater theme versus sports bar. Yeah, I agree. I think that it unlocks those design philosophy uh, accessibility to those different designs. Whereas today, if you want that really good theater experience, the room has to be dark, right? You have to have a projector. It's just that's the way it is. There's just you can't, most people can't drop $250,000 or three or $400,000 on a wall television. Just doesn't work. You can go buy a 10 grand projector and a 5 grand screen, and for 15 grand you have a really good experience, right? But when that stuff's at parity, then people are going to start saying, well, you know, I could use this to watch the game and have the lights on. So I'm going to definitely have a bar or something in the back. Whereas in the past, people would have been like, no, I'm not going to put that in there because whenever you use the screen, the lights are always going to be off. So you can't really do anything else. So I think it will allow people to change the use case of the room. And I think the experience that you have in that mixed format room will become superior to the experience that you have in a fully dedicated theater room right now for the theater portion. Plus, you get to use it for the other things. So that's my kind of thoughts on that. So David says they are already using LED tiles for commercial cinemas in Germany. Yeah, that's cool. I have not been to a commercial theater that uses LED tiles yet. I would love to see that. That would be outstanding to check that out. So maybe I'll have to go to Germany this year or next year. I can't think of a good excuse to go to Germany though. I wonder if anybody knows, maybe they have this use case or somewhere in the United States that's already doing that. I don't know. I mean, you can go to different kind of shows. Like you can go to a concert and they're going to have an LED wall back there that it's using a really uh I don't know, grainy pixel pitch or whatever, but it's still stuff back there. Oh, I guess maybe a really good example of this is the Sphere in Las Vegas. I think that's all some type of LED tile. I don't know if it's mini LED, uh, DV LED, micro LED, but I think that whole show is all LED on the inside, and then on the outside. Of course, the outside has got probably the pixels probably that big, right? But it doesn't matter because you're so far away. It still looks pretty good. That's the only one that I can think of that has that technology for some type of uh, higher end video. Um, mini K or mini LED, or is it? Did you? Yeah, mini LED. I don't know what a KED would be, but okay, mini LEDs. Awesome. So that's my take, and I think that right now you're going to start seeing the early adopters moving that way. So I myself want to be an early adopter of this technology in my theater. I don't know if I will be able to or not. Just I don't know. I see Skylar just joined on Instagram. So he works with Just Video Walls, and that company is outstanding. I saw their stuff and I've just fallen in love. So companies like his that are pushing this stuff out, that's going to help the early adopters get there. And like I said, I want to be an early adopter. I was going to buy a new projector for my theater room, but I've decided not to. Right. So yeah, absolutely good timing, Skylar. So I am not going to do that. So this technology, while not necessarily being accessible to me right now, right? Because I only need like a 125-inch screen or something, right? 100 and so I don't need like a super duper huge monster screen. But even the prices there, you're still looking, I think 40-ish grand or something. And that's just me off the top of my head making stuff up. And that's kind of for the lower end models. I'll have to do some more research and come into the pricing for this stuff. But the point being that it has impacted my decision-making process already. And I know that I am probably on the far outside or the edge of consumers for this kind of stuff. There's the set of people that are a step beyond me that have the means to buy this kind of stuff, and they actually do. And they're dropping it into their $20 million home stuff. So that's different though. I'm like on the edge of I don't want to say normal people because everybody's normal, but what you would think of as a typical consumer, right? And it has made me say, nope, I am not going to go buy this JVC for 12 grand. Right. I'm going to wait and I'm going to use my old projector and I'm going to enjoy it until I can rip the projector out, get rid of all of the sound in the room because I'm in a retrofit room. I don't have a purpose built theater room with a projection room behind it with equipment, that kind of stuff. So for me, it's going to be a game changer, right? Because I can get rid of all that ambient noise. It brings the noise floor of the room way down, right? Which is a big win. And then the picture quality is going to go way up. So I just need that price to kind of get back down to a normal kind of level that is at parity with the projection, and that's coming soon. David says, don't confuse the LEDs that they use there with the regular TV mini LEDs. And then Ronster says, Giles, how about M-Wave 2024? Would they display that? I don't know. I've never been to M-Wave, and maybe I don't know. That'd be a great question for Michael. And if it's not going to be there this year, it's going to absolutely be there at some point because this is something that is changing the market right now. I mean, like I said, it's changing my purchasing decision and my design decision. And I'm thinking about buying a new home in the next 4 or 5 years, and I always said, okay, I'm going to buy this new place. I'm going to have this custom theater. I'm going to do the crazy projection and everything. But now that those plans are gone. I want to have a much larger open form factor room that's got a humongous micro LED or similar technology wall that I can then use for a stunning theater experience, but then use it also for a game get together, and then also play video game and everything on, right? And this technology is enabling that design philosophy change, which is what I was talking about since the beginning of the conversation. And for me, this feels like a whole new world. This is opening up opportunities to do things in ways that we just could not do them before. It was just impossible, because we had to have dark rooms and we had to deal with projectors, and there was no other way around it. Curious, will MadVR type video processors still be capable of upgrading your viewing experience on these tile walls that you're talking about also? So let's talk about MadVR. So I love MadVR, and when I first met those guys and looked at the product, that's when I identified as a game changer for the market, right? Because I think it's a step above the other technologies that are out there, the Lumigens and that kind of stuff. Lumigen is still good, right? It absolutely gets the job done, but for me, MadVR is kind of top of the crop right now. So what MadVR does, or really what MadVR does not do, what Lumigen does not do, what none of these things do, is make your display technology do things that it's physically incapable of doing, right? So your projector can only do what your projector can do. Your television can only do what your television can do. But the MadVR can manipulate that input to work better with the capabilities of your system so that there is a much better experience by the end viewer, right? And that's the magic of MadVR. And I am all in. So yes, MadVR will be able to process for this type of screen, just like it can process for a projection screen as well. And if you buy a tile television wall that's widescreen and you've got 16 by 9 content, you can still use uh, the nonlinear stretch to fill the screen if you want to. It's the same thing as with a projector, right? Um, so all of those capabilities are going to be absolutely useful. The tone mapping is still absolutely going to be useful, and it will be useful within the confines are the expanded capabilities rather of what these TVs will do as compared to what a projector can do, right? Because you get 10,000 nits or something. I think is what um, TCL was saying on their 115-inch screen. I think they were claiming 10. I mean, just like laser bright in your eyeball, burn out your retinas, super, super, super bright, right? So this tone mapping will help you take advantage of these improved capabilities that don't really exist within reach of mere mortals today. I know it doesn't exist within my reach. Um, and uh, Barong Barzan says, "Can I send you my home theater and you comment? Are you gonna like pack up all the gear and send it? I'm happy to do that." No, yeah, just send over pictures and I'll be happy to take a look at it. So Mad VR is in Instagram. Hey guys, Motion AI is a game changer for those with large walls. Absolutely. And this is stuff that gets me super excited. This is the future. You take uh okay, some of my favorites, right? And this is my personal preference on brands. So take just video walls or maybe a Samsung tile wall, and then you take a Mad VR, right, and slap those two guys together. Then you take some DSP technology that allows you to do what I call VAT technology, VAT, virtually acoustic transparent technology. So it allows you to have a virtually acoustic screen so your center channel still feels like it is anchored behind the screen. And they were showing this technology off at Cedia in the Barco residential room with a big tile television that they had there. And it's outstanding. So you just have two speakers, and then it makes this using the stereo concept. Now, is it perfect? No. There are people will say, oh, what if you got two rows? And then so there are considerations there for the center channel. But for me, you take some type of processor or audio processor that can deal with that. You take a Mad VR, you take one of these tile screen walls, that's man, that's the future, right? And the future is like almost here, right? You can almost get it. All these pieces exist today, and from what I understand, the higher end processors, right? The ones where you're getting up to like 10 grand a processor for your video, will also be doing, and not the Mad VRs, I mean like the Trinovis and the Storms and that kind of stuff. They will soon be doing the audio processing to do that virtually acoustic transparency for those screens, and handle all that stuff. So it's really cool. And V13 says he or she is a 30-year veteran professional theater builder here to answer questions you may have. Hey, I'll answer them too. But if I don't know, V13, you're the overflow valve. Um, uh, and then Ronster says Kaleidoscope. Well, you're probably talking about Kaleidoscape, and yes, that is my source of choice for now as well. And so this brings up another really good question on the Kaleidoscape source side, right? Are these large tile televisions going to support Dolby Vision? And if not, is there a need for that technology in the source? And as we know, Kaleidoscape does not support Dolby Vision today. So I'm curious about what the HDR stuff looks like in the future. MadVR Labs says, the bigger and brighter the screen, the more motion artifacts, blur, and judder there is to deal with. That's what we set out to solve with Motion AI. Thanks for the kind words about the product. Oh man, you deserve the kind words. I mean, you earned all that. I mean, the product is really game changing and outstanding. It's super duper crazy. And I'm trying to scroll up, so I have to watch two screens now to see Instagram and YouTube and Twitch and everything else. And the Instagram integration here is not the best. Okay, I don't see any more comments on that side. So let's see what else we've got here. Marv Used to run 120-inch screen with Epson 5040 UB in a dedicated room. That's cool. Fast forward to 3 kids later, my Epson was useless in the living room. 85-inch Hisense UK7 for 1,300, and wow, yeah. So this is I think this goes back to the design philosophy change that we talked about before, right? In the past, if you want the big screen, you had to do the projector, and that means the lights have to be down. And then if your kids are running around, maybe it limited what you can do. Now, do that 85. I imagine that is just the bee's knees. I mean, that's beautiful, gorgeous, and the price is amazing. I mean, anything up to the 85-inch price point, right, or size point right now, you can buy at just about any budget, and the experience you're going to have off that thing is going to be stellar. You don't have to buy the super top of the line OLED to have a really, really good experience. I mean, if you got $1,500 right now, you can get a crazy good 85-inch television, crazy good. And if you got 2 grand, you can get a pretty darn good 100-inch television. And that's going to even change more in the next couple of years. Uh, Marv says, I'm rocking an 85-inch Sony. Love it. Never had a projector. Right on. So this goes back to another item. So I was talking about my kids before, right? I've got a 15-year-old and a soon to be 13-year-old. And we were talking about physical media for a few minutes, and they've never bought any physical media. And they're happy. They don't want to buy physical media. They want to stream everything, right? I have converted them to a certain extent to Kaleidoscape, so that's probably my bad. But they do expect that instant on kind of watch it when they get ready to, but they don't want to buy the stuff. Um, just like they have never bought physical media and probably never will buy physical media, they almost certainly will never buy a projector in their lifetime, right? They won't. So the people that today are getting behind this type of technology, they're going to be building their businesses for consumers that um, are in the market today, but the broad market in 10 years or 15 years is absolutely going to be overwhelmed by people who want that technology, who will not, do not desire to, and have no intention to ever purchase a projection piece of technology. All right. So Mad VR Labs says, by the way, there's a commercial theater in Madrid, Spain. That's all LED walls. That's cool. David was telling us about uh, his experience in Germany with LED wall theaters, commercial theaters. And then we were talking a little bit about the Sphere, which is also LED type wall technology as well. So that really is a good argument for the changing ecosystem where this technology is being applied and where it is good enough to be applied, right? So yeah, thanks for that. Let's see what else contents we have. Can't wait for a transparent OLED for the shower. So I know you're joking about that. However, I would absolutely in my shower love to have a glass door or the panel beside the door that is a transparent OLED that while I'm showering, I can have it show the news or whatever else. Think that would be super cool. I mean, I know that's a joke, but why not? Right? I think that's awesome. Um, I was always nervous for the kiddos touching my Stewart screen. Yeah, that's always scary. When I was when my kids were younger, I would always put these little fences so they couldn't get back, and I never lost a tweeter or a screen, thankfully, to the prying fingers of the youngsters. But it's kind of a scary thing. And V13 says that V13 ditched his screen for a Sony Masterclass OLED recently. A very good move. Yeah, the picture's so good. Um, I can't argue against that. So, in any event, I'm going to recap what I think is happening with technology today. So, the dropping prices of large form factor televisions and tile televisions, particularly the tiles when we get to the enthusiast level, changes the requirements and capabilities for a home theater system. And what I mean by changes the requirements, that's the room design. It eliminates the need to have a projector in the back. It eliminates the requirement to have the room be dark all the time. So it changes the activities that can take place in the room while the television or the screen or the LED panel or however what do you want to call it is in use, right? So that then fundamentally changes the entire concept of the space, right? And these open concept basements become much more conducive to a super high end theater style experience, right? Whereas in the past, you just couldn't do it. And then we talked a little bit about the death and the nicheification of the ultra short throw projector, and then I think the impact on the mid range and low end rear, and it's not rear projection because I've seen the old rear projection televisions, the long throw projectors. I think you're going to see, that come down as the panels go up, right? And it's really all based off of the panel cost. And just video walls, like I said, they were on. If you want to get a price on this stuff, drop me a note and I will put you in contact with those guys, and they can put you in contact with a dealer that's close to you so you can figure out what this pricing looks like. But while it's expensive, like car expensive, it's not like Lamborghini expensive. It's like, I don't know, Ford something expensive, not even a F-150 expensive. It's cheaper than that. You're probably looking at 30, 40 grand or something, or even less potentially at this point. This was, the 40 grand mark for a really big screen was what was being kind of bandied about at Cedia last year. And we're 6 months beyond that. And I'll tell you what, the number of LED wall production companies that have hit me up to talk about their product, that of course they want to sell it to me, right? I'm like, no, I'm not buying your stuff. I don't have that much money. There's a ton of them out there, and they're all vying in this market, right? Most of them are still doing things like concert displays or backdrops at churches and stuff like that. But the pixel pitch is getting low enough now where they can do 4K pretty well, right? It's a really good look. All right. Let's see. I'm gonna take some more questions here, and then we're gonna start wrapping stuff up. I will do a little what are we watching segment here first. So if you have any thoughts or questions, all the folks that are out there watching, please get those in. Anything about home theater, particularly about larger form factor direct view screens. All right. So imagine in a couple of years from now when micro LED is shipped to your home in 6 boxes of 55-inch, assemble it yourself for a giant screen experience. Absolutely, right? I don't know if it's going to come in the 55-inch form factor. Maybe that's absolutely possible. The ones I've seen now have been smaller, but I think, if they discover that form factor is the right one for the DIY home installer, then why not? I would be absolutely down to put something like that up. I can see things working pretty straightforward, right? You'll pick your screen dimensions and they send you a frame, right? And it'll be off the shelf. And then that frame will have all of the connectivity for power and data. And then you just, have a port behind that and you plug it all in. And then after that, it's just dunk, 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 dunk. The panels go in and they're magnetized, right? And you make sure it's all lined up. And then when you get back 6 feet from it, 8 feet, 9 feet, 10 feet, whatever, it's one large screen. And, the technology will be smart enough that when you fire it up for setup, it'll turn one of them on and it'll say, what spot is it in? Right. Or you won't even have to do that because since the frame will be all pre-done, it'll know where everything's at. So it just automatically can do it. Yeah. There's not going to be anything to it. It'll just work. Right. It'll be like Lego blocks or something for television size. Right. And man, what I really want to do is like a 21:9. So you can do a 16:9 and then another small screen off to the side of it. That's so cool. You match that up with a Mad VR processor and then a nice Storm or Trinov AVR processor. Man, that's my dream and that's my vision for the future. All right. Now, enough of that. So hopefully that has helped everybody understand where I'm coming from in the future for the design of home theater and the things that I'm going to be looking closely at and the things that I want to talk about. Here's a comment from Jay Black. I love my Mad VR. with my NZ8. Can't wait to see a video wall with motion AI, bring on the future and bring down the prices. Yes, I'm all in with that. And man, I bet that NZ8 setup you got is pretty darn sweet. Man, that is a nice projector. Well done. That's really, really good. All right. So a little bit of content talk. Last week we talked about movies, right? And we looked at what's coming up in 2024, and I've got my tickets for Dune 2 already. I'm a huge Dune fan, so I'm looking forward to that. And we talked a little bit about me finishing off Stargate, and I watched all that stuff, and it took me months to get through all of that. And my family was super annoyed after I watched, I don't know, 280 episodes of Stargate stuff plus 3 movies or 4 movies. Well, now I'm trying to catch up on all the other things. So, and new series are short. They're only like 10 episodes, right? So it's really easy to catch up. But I'm plowing through the morning show, and yeah, I'm on season 3 there. And I'm a John Hamm fan, and he's in this season, so I'm watching that. It's not my favorite shows, and it's not really a genre that I often get into. This season is more like corporate drama as opposed to other things that they covered in the past. So it's more, let's make a deal, and I'm going to buy out the company, and I'm the CEO, but what about the job? And then I'm going to bring this other person in, the board of directors. So it's all that kind of stuff, which is pretty cool. But I've got to get back into all my sci-fi stuff that I missed. So I missed a bunch of Star Trek that I need to watch. We're also watching the second season of Marvel What If out there. And Chuck says, I watched all the Stargate series and movies during COVID. Nice. So I finally caught up with you. So that was one of my goals, life goal. How sad is that, to watch all of Stargate? But I didn't see them all when they came out, right? So I saw most of SG1, and then I didn't see all of Atlantis, and then I saw most of Universe. But now I've watched them all, and I'm done. And I can hope for a new show, but I probably won't get that opportunity. They probably won't bring it back. But if they do, I'm ready for it. But like I said, now I'm going to go back and do all the Star Trek. So if there are any things that I should watch that you want to talk about on one of the future episodes, because we'll be talking content for 10 or 15 minutes on each show. Because that's what all this stuff's about, right? All this technology that I cover, the whole point is because it's entertainment, right? I talk about entertainment technology, and that's everything from hi-fi to home theater to televisions to mobile to computers, right? And the content is the reason, right? Because we want to have that good experience. Now, I like the gear. I'm a tech head. I love that stuff, but I really love the things that we consume, right? So all of that kind of stuff is up for grabs. So if there's something that you want me to cover or talk about in particular, or something that you're passionate about, let me know, and I'm happy to talk about it on an episode. I really love to have that type of engagement. So if you know something I don't know, let me know, because I'm always open to cool new stuff. So I think for me, I'll finish up What If season 2. I'll finish off Morning Show season 3, and then I think I'm going to go to, oh my God, I can't remember the name of the show, For All Mankind. So if you haven't watched For All Mankind, it's pretty cool. I really like it. So it's a alternate history television show, and what they do is they started off at the beginning of the space race, right? And they changed one thing, which then shifted the events of the future. And now they're stepping through what happens. And what in the show, the thing that they changed is that Russia, our Soviet Union, beat the US to the moon. They were first to the moon. And what happened is it sparked this intense competition in a way that it didn't happen in real history, right? Because most of our space stuff just been pathetically bad, in the last 20 years, 30 years, right? We had the space shuttle stuff for a while, and then that died out. And it's just been nothing. We got ISS, and that's about it. But in this show, they really are into it, right? And so they're already in Mars and all that. And it tells that alternate history, right? So I've got a new series of that or season of that to watch. I'm really excited for that. So I think that will be my next one. All right. So what else is coming up? Expona is not too far out. So if you guys are show folks, Expona will be a good one to check out. I'll be there. The home entertainment show will be happening in June in Long Beach, and they have announced that they'll have a Las Vegas version that's going to be at the tail end of of CES, right? So if you're a audiophile hi-fi person, you know CES is not the show for you, right? Because none of the high-end companies go to CES, whereas in the past they used to. Well, home entertainment show, my take on it is that they're bringing that as a add-on or a carry-on after after CES for 3 days for folks that are audiophile, hi-fi kind of folks, right? So for me, it'll be great because I'll just go to CES and then I'll just stay 3 more days and go to that. And then I will completely be dead and probably all COVIDed up and sick by the end of that experience of 12 days or whatever. But it'll be fun. And I'm looking forward to that show and seeing all of those brands there. There is the Florida Audio Expo. Is that the name of it? And that's happening like this weekend. I think everybody that's going to be at the show are on their way there now and jaunting down. I've seen some people post up some great looking seafood as they get spun up for the show down there, which is exciting. I won't be there, unfortunately. My CFO didn't sign off on that expense, which was my wife. so I won't be at that one. Another note, Chuck says recently went from 522 to 924, and wow, watched Top Gun Maverick, and it was yes. So the audio in Top Gun Maverick is pretty darn good, and yeah, going from 522 to 924, that's a really big change. I'm really curious. How do you like the front wides? I used to run front wides on my system, and I don't run them anymore. They didn't seem to work super well in my room, but I run 744. Which I really love. And the four, let me tell you what. So I've got this Trinov processor right now that's on loan. And let me tell you, that thing is crazy good. It is absolutely stunning. Here's my promo, dude. Free Trinov promo. If you're looking for the absolute best in home theater processing for video and audio, if you want the best processor you can buy, Trinov, buy the best. And I say that because I've never had a Storm processor, so I don't have anything directly compared to, but that's like the number one competitor, right? Although I do have an older V1 Storm processor that I'm going to upgrade the video card on and then play with and see what happens. And I'm going to create some content about that. And I'm working with the Storm guys on that right now, so I'm really excited to do that content. And I'm finishing up my filming of the amplitude and altitude 16s and drop that content, and that'll come out maybe this weekend. I'm super late with it, and I'm sure I'll start getting nastygrams here pretty soon. Get the content out, but I can't say enough about it, man. It sounds so good. The Atmos, the height channels that I've got, they were okay before, but with whatever technical magic the Trinov has for tuning this stuff, they are so present now, and they add so much to the ambiance of the room and the immersiveness of the sound. It's crazy good. It's crazy good. Okay. Chuck says, been to Expono the past 2 years, 25 minutes from your house. Oh, awesome, man. Well, I'll be there this year, so come over, say hi. I'll be floating around. Totally worth going if you can. So much gear I can't afford. Yes, they will have the $1 million rooms for sure. And I'm sure SVS will be there with a home theater room too, which is pretty cool. And then my buddies at Stark Sound are going to be there for the first time in a long time, which is pretty cool. I really love those folks. They're really cool. Love the front wides, but my room is 33 foot wide. What? What are you living in? You got like a castle. This dude, we're gonna start calling you Chuck the Castle Burgess. Just the castle. We're gonna call you Chuck Castle. That's what you are. 33 foot wide. It's got to be like 40 foot deep or something, man. You got how many? You just like 3 rows, 4 rows, man. That's outstanding, dude. Very cool. And a Denon X6700H, very nice in processor mode. Here's a funny thing. I'm from Alabama, and in Alabama, Denon is pronounced Denon. I remember the first time I came away from my home and I went somewhere and I said, "Hey, you guys got any Denon?" And they looked like, "What? What are you talking about?" Pretty crazy. Yeah, just a basement, right on. So as Mr. Castle says, it's just a basement, and I think that's a great use case for the panel style televisions, the large form factor televisions, because that is a great space to put something like that in that still works well and gives you a superlative image with the lights on. Um, I did not see your Alabama comment. Feel free to drop it back in. Please do. Dan says, really enjoyed your recognition on the SW15. Worked very well for a year and just added a 21 inch for a little more punch on the lower end. Nice. Yeah, the SW15 is great sub. They have the new SW15P, which is a good one as well. It's a little more expensive. The reason I like the SW15 is because it's solid, and when it's on sale, it is the best deal in subwoofers, bar none. Right? It's crazy good for the money. Tell me about this 21. There's a company that just came out with this really cool looking 21 inch subwoofer. RHS, RHL, not Rel, RH something, RBH. Yes. Do you have the RBH 21? Because that thing is freaking cool. I've not heard it, but I like their stuff, and it's really really awesome. So yeah, if you've got one, oh Dan, oops, Dan the man, yes, you have got the super duper dude. That thing is so cool. Oh my god, congratulations, dude. That's a great piece of gear. Symphonic says, good to catch a session. I'm also excited about the new panel for monitor screen options. TV doesn't really apply anymore. Yeah, the panels are going to be really cool, and I assume you'll be at Exponent, right? I think you will. So I'm hoping you will be, so I can say hi again. It'll be good to see you there, along with everybody else in the in our small little world. All right, I'm running out of steam for this episode. We covered off on. Chuck says, I'm from Alabama as well, Chilton County, Peach County. Now I live in Chicago burbs. I'm from Greenville, Alabama, so it's right off 65, about halfway between Mobile and Montgomery, in Butler County. It's just south of Ledahatchee, Davenport. I always liked driving by Ledahatchee Davenport exit on 65 going north when we went up to Montgomery, because Greenville's small, and when I lived there, it was even teeny tinier. Small world, yeah. Nice to meet another Alabamian, Alabama. I don't know. Whenever I tell anybody I'm from Alabama, the first thing they say, Alabama. I'm like, yeah, but that's not how we say it. He is familiar. Right on. Yeah. Went to Greenville High School, GHS Tigers. Go Tigers. And if you don't know, in Alabama, there are no pro teams. So college football is like religion, and high school football is almost as important as the college ball games. So really, really big deal. Dan says he's in Utah and did all RBH, 831 R LCRs, 821 R sides, 760 R rears, huge upgrade, AVM 70. Yeah, dude, that's a sweet setup, man. That's really cool. I would love for you to send some pictures over, dude. Dude, take your camera and walk around and film it, and I'll post it up. People would love to see that setup. I mean, that is really good. Yeah, just grab your cell phone, do some in portrait, some in landscape. Send it over. I'll post it. I'll post it up on Instagram for sure. Right? Oh gosh, I've ignored Instagram. Okay, no comments there. Haha. There's only 4 people watching on Instagram now. They've died out on that side. Sorry, Instagram people. Okay, I don't know if I can really talk with you anymore after that. I don't know. War Eagle. No, a bunch of my family went to Auburn, and my brother went to Alabama, and I went to Troy. So I'm a Trojan. So I'm like neutral ground. Something like that. But yeah, like I said, please for Dan, please send over some video of that. I'd love to put that up on Instagram for you so people can see what you got going on. Okay, we covered off on shows, covered off on content. Yeah, so we just talked about that a little while ago for the show. I announced that. So as I was saying, they're going to be following up CES in Vegas. So for all you CES folks, it's going to be easy to stay and get your fix for hi-fi. And then the normal California show will be at its normal time in June, beginning of June, and make sure to check that out as well. So hopefully one day they'll come to Denver too. That would be super cool. There is a wide open hole where Rocky Mountain Audio Fest used to be for a hi-fi show out here, and that one was fairly well attended, and I really enjoyed it. It would be great to have another show out here that was featuring hi-fi. We've got Cedia for a while, and that's great for home entertainment technology in general, which is inclusive of everything from lights to home theater to speakers to outdoor stuff. It would be cool to have that high end kind of content come back again. All right, folks. We're going to call it tonight. We're 1 minute shy of an hour. Thanks so much for joining. Remember, like, subscribe, ring the bell, do all those things. If you're watching, you are on one of my channels, and it is very easy for you to just push the button. It'd be very much appreciated. As we say, subscribers are the oxygen we breathe. We love to see that number get bigger. Man, love it. Yeah, thanks for joining in. I'm able to broadcast this on Instagram, but I think the experience there is not quite as good as the one on YouTube, especially with the integration with StreamYard, which is my tool of choice for streaming. Now, this is live on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitch, and X, so I'm all over the place. If they had a way I could do this on TikTok, I would do it there too. But right now, no way to do it on TikTok. Okay, folks, again, that's it. Thanks so much. Take care. See you guys in the next one. See you next week for another wonderful show. And remember, this show's guest who wasn't able to make it, Dream Media Home Theater, dreammediaav.com. Check those guys out. If you need to buy some gear, Dream Media is a great way to go. Zach and Kellen, great dudes, and they're there to help you out, and they have a really great process to design high-end home theater if you're in the market for that kind of stuff too. All right, folks, take care. I'll see you later.